All right, long time coming with Rich O'Toole. Rich, I like your tweets. I want to start with your tweets. First, you're a Texas guy. We just talked about you're living in Houston, but you're very active on Twitter, but not in a bad way. You're not one of these. You're not pushing stuff on people. Mainly the beans and the chili thing.
Yeah.
So if anybody follows, Wes and I were talking about it a little bit. How did that start? Because just give people the background. I know what it's about, but it really became like a point of emphasis for you on your Twitter. Beans and chili, which is a yes.
Yeah, I know. It's a North. My dad's from Minnesota. My mom's from Washington State. They came down here in the 70s, and I was born in Houston, Texas. So I'm a Texan, like through and through. I was born here. I noticed that in Texas, man, like can you cuss on this?
Yeah.
You can say fucking shit and ass and tits and balls.
You cannot fuck around with putting beans in chili. And like my shit is like the chili I've always had beans in it. I'm like, what the
Me too. Yeah.
William Clark Green had a shirt that said like no beans in chili. I was at a festival and they had like signs posted like if you turn in chili with beans, you will be fucking kicked out. Like they're so serious about it. So me being like, I'm in the Texas country scene. I'm in the scene. I've kind of always been a rebel. Like, I don't know what it is, man. I never really got along with, some of the people down here as well as never got along with some people in Nashville. So it was just a way for me to like kind of poke the bear,
Mm-hmm. Like
fuck it, like really get people riled up. And I sent a couple tweets out like a year ago and I was literally getting death threats in my DM. Like, I'm not listening to your music ever again. I took you off the list. Like, you're fucking done. Fuck you. Like, I'm like, over beans and chili? Oh, let's fucking go with it. Like, you're gonna do that to me. I'm just gonna fucking own it and like roll with it,
Right.
And it gets people so angry. And it's like, dude, it makes for great Twitter. I mean, it really does.
Isn't there a big, because my brother-in-law, I think he went to UT for a while, an undergrad or something, or I think somewhere around there, but there's like a big chili fest, right? That's crazy, like a party.
Oh yeah. I played it. I went to A&M.
Okay.
I played Chili Fest. There's no beans allowed in that. And Terralingo.
Oh, really? Okay.
There's no beans. Yeah, so like Texas chili came up from San Antonio, came up from Mexico. It's supposed to be just fucking meat and chili powder, which just is a straight heartburn. I mean, it's not even a fucking, who would eat this,
To me, it's almost like, I would put that on like macaroni or something, but it's not like
it's great on a hot dog, but it's like
a
family meal. Like,
well, I always grew up with, it was always beans in it. It was like 50-50 almost sometimes, beans and meat.
Right.
Totally. Bobby Flay, he wanted $100 million. He's out of Food Network, but if you ever look up some Bobby Flay recipes, I'm gonna guess he puts beans in his fucking chili for his Southwestern shit. But
I think everyone knows besides Texas. It's a Texas thing.
Okay.
Like, Big Cat from Barstool was talking about it this week, like on their podcast as well, because it's like, what are these people that are just so against it? But I don't know. It's kind of funny that it's fun to get people riled up. I've always kind of been in there a little bit, so
that's funny. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, that was even news to me that it was even a thing. I never even heard of that until I saw you tweeting about like this put beans in chili type of. I'm like, oh, is that a political party? Are we doing something different? Like,
yeah. I got shirts coming out next week. I think we already got like 300 pre-orders. We're gonna sell beans and chili Texas shirts, and like I'm gonna donate the proceeds to like a mental health organization and try to raise help for like people with anxiety and stuff in Texas country. So yeah, it's something good's gonna come out. I'm trying to use it for the good. Like it's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun to like talk shit, but as long as at the end of the day, if you're like helping raise money for something.
It is. Speaking of, I think you were tweeting about that, like your battle with anxiety, right? A little recently here in the last year.
Well, it was a thing. I mean, y'all saw it. I mean, I had a really bad, I was in April, I was meeting with the label, and my anxiety, I've never talked about it ever. And so what my deal was, I'm like, y'all, man, I'm a big beer drinker. I like to booze, and it was getting a little out of control for me because I had to go to all these meetings. I had to go and play concerts.
Mm-hmm.
And, last April, I hit like a 10-day bender because I had 10 shows in a row. I had 10 meetings in a row. I was in Nashville. On that 10th day, I was so fucking sick. I could barely make my show. I played it. I got off stage and I like tweeted out. I was like, I'm gonna go get help because my anxiety was so bad. And I knew the next day, like I had to have beers before I got on the plane because I'm scared of flying. I have to have a buzz before I go in like to a public place. So I go to a baseball game. I always gotta have a buzz. It just got old for me, you know. So I think there's people that really need help with that. Like, I don't drink hard liquor anymore. I have beers when I go to a baseball game. I have wine with dinner, but I really try to cut out a lot of alcohol because that was really like me using that as a medication, which is not true. I mean, musicians really need help because, you know, my fear is like I have like agoraphobia. I'm fear of being trapped. So when I'm on stage and I'm sober, I'm scared to death, and like I want to run off that stage. Well, I can't. People pay the ticket price, so once I'm out there, I have to be there for an hour and a half. There's no getting off the roller coaster. And so that was trouble for me. And like, you know, I've been seeing kind of a therapist, like a music therapist, to help me, like, you know, get back on stage and work it out. And I don't want to quit. I want to keep dropping music. But it was tough, man. I had to make that announcement, and no one saw it coming. But I was like, look, I've been basically running with a broken leg for 10 years and just never told anybody. You know, that's kind of what it was like,
man.
So,
well, it's cool that you're open to talk about it. It's a weird thing too. It's like I'll have anxiety in moments. Like sometimes it's like the chicken or the egg thing. It's, do you have anxiety? Booze helps, but sometimes you already have, but then the hangover
makes it worse.
Your anxiety's way worse. That's like, that's definitely something I have. Like Wes and I like joke about it, but it's like, if you're like functioning perfectly and you just get a bad hangover, like the next day I'm all like on edge and shit, and you're just like, like back in the day when you're in college and you would drink for 5 straight days and you're just a total worthless piece of shit on Sunday. And it's like, so you get anxiety and depression, like, which is natural from like so it's like you have it before, then you have it after. Then I feel like when it starts combining, it's just like, holy shit.
No, it's a train wreck. I mean, that's what the wheels fell off for me. I'm like, I thought I had it under control, and I did. It just, the wheels fell off. You know, it's like the Sunday scaries, man. Like, straight up on that Sunday or that Monday, because now Monday Night Football, it's like you drink till Monday, right? So then that Tuesday morning, and then you have work to do. Like, you got to pay bills and shit. So the fucking wheels are off, man. I mean, the anxiety from all that. One of the biggest like thing, and I'm not against it. Like, I probably lost my Bud Light deal and I've announced that I was going sober, which I'm not sober. Like, the thing is, like, I do enjoy a glass of wine. I do enjoy.
You're like, I still have some beers, but like,
yeah. It's like I stopped drinking hard liquor. I stopped drinking a bottle of Jack before shows. Like, I really had to get under control and get I want to focus on my career and I don't want to lose what I have, you know. But it is a thing where it's like that, because I remember being at brunch and being like, the first thing I get the bar 15 minutes early before my brunch date with a chick or friends, and mimosas just so I could be.
I mean, on a date though, that's a little bit fair. You got to kind of loosen it up. And I had like a 6-pack before my first date with my wife.
Let's not. I mean, you want to be yourself. You know, if you get there and all jittery, and chicks can pick that shit up. I mean, they're doing. This guy is fucking mumbling the whole time. Like, I don't
stuttering.
Yeah.
But I've also been.
Go ahead, Liz.
I was just gonna say, like, speaking on the anxiety when you're really hungover after like a 3-4 day bender. Like, I've been in situations where, for example, I went hiking one time. A mountain I've hiked a couple times, and then hungover though, was like terrified, like afraid of heights, can't do it. Had a panic. I got to go back down. This is in California, and like, no, I'm like, I can't. And I'm like, and people are, what the fuck's wrong with you? And I'm like, it's the alcohol.
Your heart's like skipping all over the place.
I'm like, I'm gonna fall off.
And
heart palpitations.
And it's like, I've been up there a bunch of times, but the alcohol, 3 days of it, and you're kind of just, it's not fun.
It's kind of like, no one's like taught that class. It should be like a college class. They teach you like how to do a 3-day, like how to start Friday night and then come down Sunday. I was trying to explain to my mom, like, because I was talking, she was like, why don't you just don't drink on Sunday? I was like, you can't. If you drink Friday and Saturday hard, you have to have drinks on Sunday or your fucking world's gonna fall apart. She's like, that's
like level out.
You got a big problem. I'm like, no, it's not a problem. It's that I had 13 drinks on Friday, 13 drinks on Saturday, and you can't just cold turkey it. Like, you have to have like 6 beers and then fade in, get to bed by like 9 so you can be productive on Monday. But they don't teach that like to kids. I
mean, you explain that perfectly, by the way. You explain that perfectly.
You have to get off it's a drug, man, and you got to get off of it like on a cool slope, or you're gonna be on the couch fucking thinking about what you did in 3rd grade, or like having like fucking
Yes,
oh,
Oh,
oh my god, what the fuck
No.
happened? Like,
so here's the deal. Like I have a 1-year-old, a little over one. Wes just had a baby. Drinking changed a lot. It's more like it's more frequent in terms of like, oh, I have a few beers here or there, like in the garage, whatever. Like,
right.
but it's not like there's no staying up late. There's none of that. But as soon as you start to get to that point where it's like you're up late, you're up really like 2-3 o'clock in the morning, like, and you do that multiple nights in a row, that's when that's like you get delirium, you're like sleep deprived. And it just happened to us. We were at a wedding
Right.
in Kentucky. So it's like kind of like a quasi like destination wedding because we had to like go there, and it almost felt like a bachelor party. It was a lot of fun, but Wes and I we're not used to this, having really young kids now. So it's staying up till 3 o'clock drinking, and then the next day 3 o'clock drinking, and then up at like 7 with everybody. And then my flight home, man, holy shit. I was like, I knew, I had a feeling, I'm like, this could be really bad on Sunday morning because it was an early flight from Kentucky to Colorado. And I bought like the 1A Premier Access United, like it's like first class, but not really. And I just like, fuck it, it's my buddy's wedding, I'm gonna just spend a little extra on the ticket, knowing they're probably gonna take care of me if I'm in a rough shape. Yeah. And she did. She came right over. She's like, hey, can I get you? It's like 7 a.m. She said, can I get you a beer? And I'm like, what kind do you got? So she showed me the thing. And I'm like, I'll take the 7% hazy API, whatever the hell. Drank it and felt so much better. And I'm like, I told my wife, I was like, listen, if the Kentucky airport didn't serve Bloody Marys until 10:30, I was like, oh shit. I was like, we got a fucking problem here. Like,
started to panic. Yeah, I mean,
I bought Sour Patch Kids. I'm like, hopefully the sourness will help my like stomach settle down. You know, I was just trying to get creative. But it's like,
yeah, it's like alcohol is a friend that has to have that another friend. It's like a neuron or like an atom. I mean, unless you have alcohol again, that you're not going to feel better, you know. And that's the problem. Is like that's where we have to watch it.
Yeah, and real quick, I want to. He seems like a cool guy, but I know we're kind of joking, but being serious. But like South Texas Tweak, right? I don't know if you know him well, or you might follow him, Texas artist. But he was very open. He posted a picture of himself saying like, I'm going to rehab or whatever. Wes, remember? I think I sent it to you on Instagram. Yeah. He was super on. He was in the hospital bed. Yeah. His last Instagram post, and he's like, he's like, the fact I'm alive today. So he must have had obviously a fucking close call.
Was this recently, or is it? When was this?
Yeah, I mean, this was
the last couple months or so.
I'm gonna pull it up real quick.
Months,
it was like super open.
Yeah.
I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, he's very transparent about his kind of struggles with alcohol and kind
September 16th, he posted on Instagram in the hospital bed.
Okay, yeah. I played a show. Yeah. He opened up a show for me in Fort Worth after that. We talked about him.
He was always like, I think we had a few laughs on Twitter with this guy, and like seems like a cool guy, but it's like social media hides so much of the dark side. Like you see an art, like a country artist with a bottle of Jack, you're like, cool, man, country music. But a lot of times, like you said, you're going off stage and you're finishing that thing by yourself.
Yeah, and it's also a thing too, like, and we don't have to name any names. The names I will name will be like Cohen, Turnpike. We can talk about that. But like, look at Turnpike. Look at alcohol. Those guys were making $1 million a month, and alcohol shut that shit down. I mean, they're making $1 million a month. Like, dude, that's crazy. Like, you know, and Evan's sober now, and like I know him and his wife, and like they're amazing people. And I think the thing about Texas country that like no one wants to talk about, which I fully will, and I don't care because it's not going to hurt my career at all, is these managers and agents run these bands to the fucking ground, dude. They do. Just like Nashville does. And nothing that Nashville's better than Texas or Nashville. None of that bullshit. But I've done it, man. I played, 1,800 shows in the last 16 years since I was 22. I'm 38 now. There was times we were playing 340 days a year because our agent could get that many shows, and we were drunk every single time. So you can imagine in my 20s, I was drunk 340 days out of the 356. Saw friends and family at Christmas and Thanksgiving. But you're on a tour bus, chicks are on there, dude. There's free alcohol. It is a playground to get fucking drunk. But the health out of that is there's no like Texas doesn't have like a fund for like helping people out that want to get sober. They don't have a fund saying, all right, or the managers aren't checking in. As long as you're that dancing chicken on stage,
The racehorse.
Dusty, from fucking what's it called? Racehorse. Like as long as you're working and you're bringing in cash, they don't really care. And so I think that like the other side of the Texas country that nobody sees is like, be nice, like if it's a Sunday night and you bring shots to a stage and the guy's like, I'm all right, he's just sipping a beer, like don't get on him. These guys like to booze. I like to booze. But that's the dark side of Texas country is like when you have to always be on, sometimes you need the booze to be on. If you're playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you started, your Wednesday in Waco and you ended your Saturday in Chicago, and the Whiskey Riff guys are there, and it's Saturday, and you've already been drunk for three days. I can't just go in there sober and go, hey, hey, Steve West, like, I'm not drinking. I'm be like, no, take a shot. I'm gonna suck it up and take a shot on more with y'all.
Yeah.
I want to get out of y'all's playlist. Like, you want to do shit. So like, the deal is like, you kind of have to like man up, and that's the hardest part being an artist.
Yeah.
You want to know that you have a parachute to say, hey, look, I can't drink tonight, guys. Like, I'm sick. I feel bad. And it's hard in our line of work because like we're always having to be on, so.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know if Steve, have we ever done a podcast without alcohol in some capacity?
I've done a few just because they were at weird times since I moved to Colorado, but usually it's called Whiskey Riff Raff.
Yeah.
Right.
So I almost feel like obligated to kind of like, but I'm not usually drinking whiskey out here. No way. If I'm 2:00, if I'm pouring a whiskey, my wife would be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like,
yeah. I mean, most of the time I still have to drive
Kentucky
home
cold
after
snacks.
this, so.
We're trying to work with these guys.
Yeah, it's a good light beer. It's only like 4%.
Yeah, they're.
I mean, I'm drinking
light.
friggin' Bush. Like, I'm keeping it light.
Yeah.
But no, dude, it's one of the more enlightening like little moments I think we've had on the podcast in a while, because there's that, and I don't know if you mentioned Cove before you mentioned Turnpike. I thought I heard you say that, but like,
yeah, I
that's
did.
an example of a guy that's like, that's him. That's not a
hurt, that's all.
And people talk about like, and his tweets are hilarious. He's literally like, we've done a lot of podcasts. We met a lot of people, and I shit you not, people always ask, who's the nicest person you met? Like, I think both Wes and I are like, Coetzel is like at the top. Like, he's one of the sweetest guys we've ever met. But I tell people, I'm like, we've also never gotten so fucked up. Like I blacked out before he got on stage. I was trying to drink with him, and I was just like, I can't fucking keep up with this guy. It is not an act. Like, that guy goes hard. So to your point, it's like, yeah, like Texas or whatever, like people that don't like him, that don't hide it. It's like, it's not an act. Like, don't try to like keep up or like try to be, because you might end up like yourself fucking like screwed.
Yeah,
like Wes and I did like that night, but
it's not. And I've been there, and I pissed off some people. I mean, that's the thing is like, I got too drunk at Steamboat. That's why I'm not on Steamboat really anymore. I think I embarrassed myself in front of the guy that books it. Like, I got fucked up with
just like fucking up songs, lyrics, or
that, and just like I got drunk probably at a party and was fucking being a sarcastic asshole or something. It's like I'm Irish, O'Toole, so like I get that like 7-day drink in me. I'm
like that, like
button up. I'm like telling cussing a little bit.
Bouncing around, kind of like bouncing around the room a little bit type of like.
I've lost business over it, and if like, look, if Coetzel wasn't selling 20,000 tickets a night, he was selling 15 tickets, people would be like, oh, that guy's just, it's only cool because like it's selling out things. But I like him a lot, and I think that what he did for Texas country is like so great because it was so stale for so long. He really brought a lot of limelight to it. So like, my deal with that is like, just keep, I just hope that there's like managers or agents behind them that just keep an eye and to say, hey, look, if you ever need to like step back or something, we got you. We don't need you to hop on stage and be hammered every night if you don't want to, man. There's good. Yeah. Your music's really good, and it's good enough that it can stable without having to pound mall and jack. I want to,
I think Tim McGraw. I don't know if we posted that, Wes, but he was talking about it recently because he kind of stopped talking about it. He stopped drinking a while ago, if I'm not mistaken, years, like a decade ago. But he was like, when he knew he had a problem, he's like, the kids were like in the crib or something, and he's like, right before he went to pick him up on like a Saturday morning, he's like, went to the liquor cabinet, took a shot of whiskey or something. All right, feel better. He's like, that was like the moment. It just like, he's like, what am I like? What's going on here?
And look, I think that was only what 26, 27. Dude, let him. I mean, he's having the time of his life. He's like buying a Rolex, like on a tour bus. He doesn't have kids and shit. Yeah, when you have kids and stuff, man. I mean,
yeah,
and your body will tell you too. Like I just turned 38. My body, if you have more than like 8 drinks, the next day I'm like completely worthless.
Right.
In my 20s, I could do that every single night. So
when you're talking a lot about the Texas industry, but it's super prevalent in Nashville as well.
Yeah.
I mean, like
more hidden.
So many songs are like even about it. Even like I kind of have a little bit of a bone to pick with artists who are like very vocally sober, like a Keith Urban, a Brantley Gilbert, a Tim, maybe not
Chris Jansen.
Like Chris Jansen got a fucking single called "I Can Fix a Drink" and you don't even drink. Like,
yeah,
that shit bothers me so much.
It bothers me too, and that's fucked up. And that's like I love Jason Isbell because like he's sober and he's not gonna come out with a song about alcohol unless it was about his past. That's the truth. I mean, you're totally right. That bothers me a lot too. That's shit. And
it's like really common, and I'm kind of just like, you don't even fucking drink. What are you talking about? Getting the party started and fixing drinks? And it's like you're not starting the party. Your friends are coming over and they're just hanging out in your garage. Like, I mean, your garage is a $6 million garage, but like still, they're hanging out in your garage, and that's the only way you're getting the party started, And it's just kind of.
And then trust me, he doesn't party. I hang with all my sober friends. We go to juice bars and play frisbee golf. There's no fucking party. Sing about that. But you know what? Frisbee golf and green juice isn't in a sell on.
What sucks too? It's like for me, like before Colorado, like weed's legal in Chicago too now, but like it's like weed is like such a no-no in like mainstream country to talk about weed, and I'm like, it's so much healthier, safer. It helps so many people, and it's like, why can't a guy like, I don't know, Brantley Gilbert, for example, like I think he did do that weird song with Willie Nelson, but recently, but like his label wouldn't let him put out like a single about like smoking weed, but it's like, but about alcohol, hey, go ahead. It's just, and you can drink a bottle of Jack, get in your car, just drive down the fucking road and just kill a family. And it's legal to drink that bottle, go buy, but some states are still like, we like that drives me crazy too, because I think some of the most honest country songs, I mean, you see Willie Nelson, he doesn't give a shit, obviously, but it's like the weed still has this weird connotation with the mainstream. And I'm like, are we still, it's 2022 almost, like, let's go. Come on.
It's just weird. I think that, okay, so there's been in Nashville, like Granger Smith got in trouble for saying that Texas country was like minor league baseball. Remember that?
Oh my God, yeah.
All bullshit. I mean, it is like that, basically. And so the deal is like Nashville is corporate. If you've ever had a corporate job, it fucking sucks. You have to run everything by them. Like I'm with the label. I'm signed to Average Joe's right now, and I love them, but I still have to go through these like vigorous emails of, can I do this? No. Can I do this? No, you can't do this. We're run by the lawyer. It takes me, when I'm independent, I can go write a song right now, drop it tomorrow, email y'all and be like, hey, we throw it on the New Music Friday. Let's fucking go. Let's get it going. It could be called Weed and Pussy or some shit. And like,
Wheeler Walker.
So, but in Nashville corporate, you can't do that, man. That's a 6-month fucking chain of emails with lawyers saying this. No, we don't want this. And then it's got to run up the flagpole. And, the thing about Nashville that no one really knows is that city loses money every year. The movie industry bails out Nashville. So like to have a single on the top 40 radio, it's cost about $3 to $4 million. Well, that single's not going to make that because of streaming. We're only making $296. We're only making $1 for every 296 streams. So like your shit's got to be streamed like 20 million times to even break even on what it costs to record that single, plus the staff, plus all that. So they're not rolling the dice at that. And that's the problem in Nashville is it's so corporate. You have to run it all the way up the ladder. The boss has got to say yes. By then your idea is stale. It's like, I've written songs up the ladder.
You're past it already.
Like you gotta be, that's what I love about the rap and like Drake is like, when you got an idea, when you got something, drop it the next day. Like go write it, go record it, drop it. Because kids are like, ADD now.
Oh yeah.
So that's just national corporate. And I think it'll change. I think what's going to happen,
I think
one's another balls to do it. Go ahead, sorry.
No, I was gonna say I think so too. It'll change.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, is there anyone do you think that kind of has that ability where you can just call up his maybe like a Luke Combs who can kind of like, he's like huge right now. Do you think he could maybe do that? Or
I think you get one shot at it. So what's going to
Yeah.
happen is you go out there and put your balls on the desk, man, and so you walk into, was he with Warner or is he with Broken Bow?
He's in
Anyway, you walk in there,
Universal.
lunch with the CEO, and
Tony.
you say, I've had 7. Luke's had what, 12 number ones back to back, which I really like him. I think that's what's right about Nashville's Luke Combs.
Yeah, exactly.
Same with like Chris Young. Like there's some really great guys that's right about Nashville. So when you have a song about weed, like if we wanted to do like if we record a song today called Whiskey Riff and Weed, like whiskey riff and weed, smoking on the boat and smoke, like, and I went to the CEO and I was like, look, I want to drop a single. He's gonna say, you got one shot. We had this other single, the other single called Whiskey and Tailgates that I think everyone's gonna love. But if you want to go this weed song, I'm gonna give you the one shot. Now this shit fucking doesn't go in the at least top 10. You might lose your whole career.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's the problem, is like they have songs like that. You just really got to put your money where your mouth is. And if it doesn't work out, then, Luke Holmes' whole radio budget, that's tough.
How does the radio budget work?
I think it's
because you're not technically allowed to pay for radio, but it seems like it kind of works that way.
I mean, look, I'm an independent, so I'm not in the game, but I'll tell you, it's still, I'm trying to think how much I can get away with on this because I don't want to get the industry to attack me, but I mean, it's a lot of money. And I'll tell you what it is like, so you go around because I did a national campaign like 10 years ago, and this wasn't worth it. I put my life savings into it, and I'm self-made. Like people think I came from a wealthy family. I'm not. I had to start from nothing, but I ran out of money. I mean, I started with a $30,000 radio budget, tried to do a national campaign, and I didn't get 2 weeks into it. We barely made the top 80. And what you do is, so like you go to every station, then they want to do meet and greets, then the PD and all the station wants to go to dinner. You're basically like, there's no payola, doesn't exist. You can't give a radio station money, but you're like funding certain things, and you're like getting in their good graces, and then they add the single, then you try to get momentum.
They still don't play it.
It's a fucking hustle, man. I mean, it is like, you gotta
It's
have
like the
it's like
but what I mean, how similar is this to like investment banking or corporate law? And like when the kids are coming out from a top 5 law school, they wine and dine you. They're taking you to Le Bernardin in New York City for lunch. You're like, what the happened to my brother-in-law? We're taking him to Le Bernardin for lunch. He's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like the best seafood restaurant in the world. Like, and they're come work for us. Like, yeah, it's like kind of like bribery. Like, but it's like you're just you're being nice. So that's where like it gets all convoluted, right? Where
you can't compete with Warner Brothers, you can't compete with Sony. I mean, those two right there, they're in the movie picture business. They have $1 billion budget. So if Maren Morris or if fucking Chase Rice or whatever wants a number one, they can go and spend $20 million and get a number one. They can't. Richard Toole can't. Like I'm dropping $5,000 at Texas Radio. I'm spending $500 on Spotify. That's all I got. I'm throwing my shit out there. It's something to compete. I can't do it. You hope you hit like a really nice song, but they will, and they're powerful, man. Those major record labels, there's a reason why you see the same people on the award show. There's a reason why you see the same people doing the same thing, is because they're powerful. We've all wanted to be signed by them because once you're in their good graces, and they can change your life, man. I saw Maren Morris. I mean, me and her played together for years back in the day. I mean, doing nothing. And she moved to Nashville and was writing and got with Natalie Hemby and started getting with the writers over at Sony, and then they ran her up the flagpole, and she played ball, and now she gets to call her own shots. That's the thing, is like, if you can do it the right way with the major label and still keep your dignity. You don't have to release a song like Fireball and Tailgates or whatever the fuck. You know what I'm saying? So
Fireball and Tailgates,
whatever. Yeah, is that a song yet? I mean, I don't know. That should be
I think Florida Georgia line.
Yeah, I was gonna say the old Florida Georgia line, maybe.
Yeah.
It's no different than I got a new truck.
Fireball, I got a new truck. It's like every song on the radio now is like some kind of weird alcoholism Ford truck commercial, right? Like, isn't that?
We've shared a bunch of the old Ford commercials that were Alan Jackson, like rewriting some of his lyrics for. I'm like, those are good commercials.
Yeah.
You got Alan Jackson in the 90s, like something about my Ford truck, something. I'm like,
yeah.
Fuck yeah, dude. Like that's country. Simple. It's just like
best. 90s
look at the rims.
Yeah. But now it's so like it's like, not to beat a dead horse about like the industry, but it's it's why Wes and I, and now we grew our team so much this year. It's been a whirlwind, but like, why, like people always ask, like, why didn't you go to Nashville? Why did it's just, I can get why an artist would go to write and do all that stuff. Totally makes sense. Creative and stuff. But for us, like the corporate element of like media and stuff, it's like an embarrassing, archaic, like circle jerk of fucking like nobodies. And they're trying to like tell you what to do. And it's just like, you don't know shit. Like you literally don't know what a podcast is. And you're going to tell me what to fucking like write about.
Ask.
And I'm just like, and we just had a moment where we were done with like Nashville, like doing favors, like, oh, maybe if we do this, then later on we can do this. Like,
we did a lot of those in the beginning.
Yeah. And we're totally open about like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were learning and kind of in the process, like in real time learning. And it was a major label artist who's up and coming, and it was his team, and they all came in. And the girl was like fresh out of college, like the PR girl, like leading the guy, and didn't know what a podcast was, and then didn't know who Tyler Childers was. And I think Wes and I both looked at each other in the kitchen of our office. We were like, what is going on? Like, they don't even know what country music is. And then they were just hiring people to be like this. Like you could put that person in downtown Chicago at an ad agency, and she would do just the same. Like, that's more fitting. Well, like she at least would know what's going on.
And then
like,
they also wanted to like
she or whatever.
They wanted to tape up over every logo, every shirt, like in the podcast as well, because it would be a conflict. I'm like, does he have a deal with Adidas? No. Then what the fuck are we talking about? Like,
they literally were like,
we don't.
We had a Nike logo on our shoulder. Was it US that had a Nike?
Yeah, I had a Nike
on your shoulder.
Like, we maybe tape over that because I'm like, does he have a Nike deal? Well, no, but
he may want one.
Was he in the fucking NBA? Like
right?
No, this was.
That's Nashville. That is fucking Nashville. I'm telling you, I've had those meetings 1,000 fucking times. I remember we signed a major management deal like 6 years ago, and the first fucking 10 minutes of the meeting, and I feel like I'm an in shape guy. Like, all right, we need to lose like 15 pounds. It was not even about the fucking music. They made me sign up for an autograph class. I had to pay $250 to go to a fucking autograph class where they taught me how to sign a fucking signature. I asked my mom like in 3 weeks into this, and I was like, yeah, they haven't asked you once about the music. And then so we had meetings with Sony, and we're trying to pitch to get this signed to Sony, and we ended up going Average Joe's or whatever. And the guy, even the head of Sony, was like, well, anyways, if we sign this deal, we're going to pick all the songs. And I was like, are you cool with that? I was like, well, I guess I have to be. I mean, I don't know. I'm a good writer. I have 7 albums out. Like, I've had 23.
If I just record good songs, you can pick any one of them.
Yeah. So it's like, it was so tied in, and it was not even about the music. And really, to be honest with you, they have so much money at stake that they don't want someone like me there. They don't want guys like you, man. Someone that has a mind, that is smart, that has come up with new ideas. They don't want that, man.
Well, like
they don't want that.
That's why we always gravitate towards, as far as like outside of the business, we always gravitate towards the artists we've met, at least a certain type of person. And they're all very similar, but then they have these weird like connotations. Like Kip Moore is a great example, where he's on a big label, but he's so like different. Like, if we've met so many people, and but then people are like, oh, that guy is like hard to work with. You're like, what?
He's
hard to work with. Like, he's such a normal person who has his own like creative like ideas and wants to take a chance on a single. And then there's just like a back and forth. I think you talked about it on that podcast, right, Wes, with like how they picked a single, and it was just like, it's just even that process of just picking the song to put out when you already know like your 12 songs on the album. I think he explained it's like torture, where if you as the artist who wrote the fucking song have a lot of faith in this one, like, I think this is going to resonate with people or whatever, they're like, nah, our whatever studies
research shows.
And it's just like, come on, like
it's a bunch of other shit. You know who does it pretty good, I think, the best, and I hung out with him in Telluride quite a bit, is Dierks Bentley.
Oh yeah, Dierks.
He's a guy that like he's a Nashville artist, but he's like plays exactly what he needs to do to make sure his great music gets to the masses. and uses the labels to do that. I think that he's genius at it. There's guys like him and Lee, like Lee Bryce, Luke Holmes. There's good guys in the national industry that just play their cards right. You know,
Miranda.
That's the hardest. Yeah, Miranda, like that's the hardest part, man. You know, it's in the moment you fire back, and the moment you roll the dice and it doesn't work out, there's one guy behind you. It's just like it's like Major League Baseball, man. There's another guy behind you waiting to take your spot. So I mean, you either like kind of go what the CEO says, and you say, "All right, I'll do it," and work your ass off and try to get there, or you know, you fuck around and end up playing Texas joints like I'm doing for 100, 200 people pop. You know.
Keep chatting. I gotta let the dog out. He's making noise because he sees the kid in the backyard. Sorry.
So are you right now touring around Texas and kind of?
We're getting back out there, man. I'm still writing. Like, you know, we had New York come out that album last June. We put out another single, 17 Wild Horses. Got a music video out. I wrote a song called "Low Hanging Fruit." Right now, it's pretty good. It kind of makes fun of Americana and like the Nashville artist. It talks about child shoulders in the song. Like it's I think it's kind of like a little poke at the scene because there's like
Americana thing.
There's like 3 scenes, you know. It's like you got the Texas scene, you got Nashville, and you have Americana. And Americana always thinks they're like the cool kids because they got like the big hats and the old guitars, and they're like, you know. So it's kind of a fun little tune that kind of like pokes fun at that, but.
Did you hear Tyler Childers' remarks on the Americana thing when he won the like Emerging Artist of the Year award a few years back?
No, what was it? What did he say?
He basically was like, I think Americana is no part of nothing. I make country music. Thanks for the award, but I think the term's stupid. I mean, I'm paraphrasing like the gist of it,
I get it.
Like,
yeah.
He was just like, what is Americana? Like, I make country music and that's what I think I make. And if we're going to keep saying I'm Americana, he's like, we're never, ever going to reclaim the title of country music for people that actually make country music.
Country music, yeah.
And,
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
That's the thing is like, I've always made whatever Rich O'Toole makes. I don't know what you call my music. It's just right. It's just what I make. But it's country music. I mean, it's somewhat country, right? Country rock. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the American people like don't like what I do because I'm not like wearing the cool hat and singing at my shoes and all sad and shit, you know, and like, yeah. In the same way, like Nashville is like, there's some great Nashville people. So, you know, anytime you divide, I think it's divide and conquer. Like, all my friends that I play with are in Americana, but I've never showed up to one Americana meeting or Americana fest or anything like that because I'm like, I don't know what this is. Like, everyone here singing the sad songs. It's like a funeral. You know, you're not going to an Americana concert with like a Miller Lite, like, yeah, this is awesome. Sing about your uncle dying again. Yeah, this is fucking great. Like, I don't know. It's such a weird genre. I never got it. So
people have, I don't know what you said. Like, was it the Childers?
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before you got back. But yeah, I just kind of like, Americana is one of those things where like, I guess I know it when I hear it, but I'm like, I still don't really know what it is. Like, what, like, country that's not country, maybe it's got a little heart rent to me. Like Ryan Adams is like the epitome of Americana, but that's not what a lot of the artists now kind of sound like, you know.
No, Jason Isbell, I'd say would be like
and
King of Americana, but I don't think he would want that title. He would just say he's like, look, I'm just making Jason Isbell music. I mean, Springsteen is Americana, but he doesn't want to be called Americana. He's a rock and roll artist. I think anytime that you like you separate yourself from something, you're gonna get smaller, you know. That's what I think. I think that like what genre is Tom Petty in? What genre is John Cougar Mellencamp in? They call me Mellencamp Americana, but it's like he's like, fuck that, I'm a rock and roll guy.
Heartland rock
right, that's like another one. He's from Indiana, call it Heartland Rock.
Heartland Rock, it's like, dude, if I can crank this shit up, if Jack and Diane comes on, I got a beer in my hand, I'm having a good time. Right. But someone's like, whoa, that's Americana. It's like, dude, shut the fuck. I don't care what it is, man. I'm just cranking up.
That whole debate has gotten so, like, even with country, what's not country? It's just like, Wes, what was the quote about? Was it the porn quote?
Yeah, it was a Supreme Court judge, I believe, but he basically was like, I can't really define it, but I know like pornography when I see it. And that's kind of how I forget the decision. It's like a classic line. But like, I kind of feel that way about country music.
Yeah, you just kind of know when
I know it. I know what it is when I hear it. Like, I don't know how to like define it properly, but I know when, fucking so and so is rapping. That's not country music, but you know.
When what's his face from
Rap should be in country. I mean, one of my best friends I own a company with him is Bun B out of Houston. He's a famous rapper. He was on UGK and Jay-Z's Big Pimpin'. Me and him were like, we had dinner 4 nights ago. We're going to the Astros game tomorrow together. We're never gonna be on a track together. I don't think rap and country music. It's like I'd listen to Bone Thugs every single day of my life. This morning I did Bone Thugs all the way to get coffee. It's not country music. Right. Country music is not fucking Bone Thugs,
and that's okay. They're both great.
No, it's totally okay. Like when I'm at
a party and Bone Thugs comes on, and then Travis Tritt's fucking "It's a Great Day to Be Alive" comes on back to back. I'm having
that's a great fucking day. That's a great day.
And I actually think a lot of these artists that are successful like would say the same. Like it's the ones that are kind of like on either side where they're like, well, I can't quite make it in that genre, so let me go over here. Maybe I can't quite make it here, I'm gonna go there. Like I think you see that a lot. And then when somebody makes it big, they're like, well shit, I guess the only thing I can do now is go pop. And then that seems to be like the next thing. Casey Musgrave's new album's like pop, right? Like she basically they admit it. So it's like she's probably like, okay, I'm gonna do like, I'm not saying she's doing the Taylor Swift thing, but like that's what Taylor Swift did, right? So it's like people just whatever, do whatever. But I'm just saying, like, is there not some semblance of like this is what it is? I don't know. What do I know?
No, you're right about it. I'm glad y'all are a pretty big platform to be talking about this because, like, you know, this is like some people in the industry don't want us. We
were confused, like with the Billy Ray Cyrus, Lil Nas X. We were kind of just like, what? It was like such a big story at like once, and everybody was like confused, like what was going on, but everybody's like, this is like a pretty hardcore, like ED, like not EDM, but like whatever you call, I forget the name, like the type of hip hop song that is just like bumping in your. I'm like, nothing wrong with that, cool, but I was like, oh wait, so like
almost catchy.
There was like this huge debate going on, and I was almost caught off guard. I was like, oh, I thought this was just like a crossover thing. Yeah. You know, it's like, I don't know. People were like confused, a lot of people.
Look, let's face it. There are definitely people who listen to country music that are racist. There's people that don't want to see African-American in country music and and all the bullshit. The African-American community doesn't want to see probably white guys in rap. Let's face it, that shit goes on. It doesn't mean that you have to like sit there and like divide and conquer with these music genres. It just gets old. It's like, dude, I don't care. I don't care about this. I'll tell you what, the little Nas X song, that shit didn't bother me as much as some of the other shit I hear on. As the Applebee's song, I put a gun to my head, you know. Like, but I don't blame. Is it Walker Hayes or is that? I don't blame.
He's a sweetheart of a guy, honestly. But it's like, come on, dude, that's an EDM song.
Yeah.
It's like a hip, like a EDM type, like club song.
Right. And you can turn into, and they can do all that. So I don't even know. I mean, it gets so old, even people that even get up in arms about, well, I don't like hearing that on my radio. It's like, well, all right, man, look, what can we program? And I think that's why the streaming services are so great is you get pick your own fucking.
Right. Pick your own shit. Yeah.
Like absolutely. How much do you really
radio or turn off radio stations? I don't know. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Do you foresee a time when radio ever like just kind of disappears?
I don't know. It makes money. I mean, there's still, I think when our parents disappear, like my mom doesn't know how to work really an iPhone. Like when my dad listens to radio, I think it's for people that still want to get in their truck and like get on the road. I think it's definitely hurting. I think that the people are putting more money into Pandora and streaming and Apple Music and stuff like that and creating your own radio station. I think radio's dead. They're not paying the DJs really enough to even survive anymore. It doesn't bring in the ad revenue.
iHeart fucking fired like half their DJs and just like now it's like you hear the same radio show no matter what iHeart station you're on.
Yeah. So my friend got Erin Austin. I was just visiting her in Memphis. She got canned in Houston and got a job doing top 40 pop in Memphis. We were up there just hanging out a couple weeks ago, and yeah, man. She's like, look, it took me a long time to find another job in radio. They don't exist anymore. They let off 75% of their people. And when you can do it robots like Jack FM, that happened like 5 years ago. You just program their shit and then buy ads and then
press play.
One guy do all 48 stations across the country. What do you need a local personality for? You don't need that anymore. And no one really even cares. It's like, just play the song. that little banter in the morning, it kind of gets old, like the morning shows, and all they're phoning in like you listen to the morning show, like fake reports, like the boyfriend and girlfriend are fighting. It's like that's all fake. That's
they're like, yeah, what do I do for this first date? Like I remember that. Like
that's an
what was it? B96 West in Chicago was like the B96.
But he does that for a living. He's an actor, and they pay him, and he calls in. He has a script they email him over email, and he reads the script over the air. So it's all fake. It's not even a real.
Oh my god.
Not a real thing.
Yeah, because they're not going to risk putting just some random bozo on there.
No, my dad in his underwear.
And then touch your butt in the bathroom. Like they can't have some.
My dad asked me, he's like, "What's the phone number for 670 The Score in Chicago?" It's like the sports radio station. He's like, "I gotta fucking tell him about the Bears quarterback." And I'm like, I don't know. Like I knew the number because I was like always listening to it as a kid at sports radio. I'm like, I don't want my dad calling it this fucking radio station. Like, just like.
Well, their hand would be on the mute button the whole time. I mean, it's kind of like, can they even roll the dice?
They like screen, like on sports radio, they like screen them, right?
Yeah.
What are you going to talk about? I did it once. I was going to go to college. I was like, I want to be a sports radio guy. And then I'm like, all right, it was Sunday. I was just sitting there by myself. I'm like, I'm going to call in and just go on air and like ask a question about the Cubs. And I did it. And I was like, I almost passed out. I was so nervous. I was like, maybe this ain't for me. Like, but now it's like we do podcasts and it's like much more natural. But at the time I was like, shit, like shitting. What was my question? I forgot who the pitcher started.
I used to try to call him the Rome show. I named my first album 17 after Mark Grace because I was a big.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah. So he
got kind of liquored up. They had him on the Marquee Network. Sorry to cut you off. The Cubs new like bullshit network that like had a bunch of issues last year, but. Wes, didn't he get liquored up and he was like in his house in Arizona, like just rambling on? They're like, all right, Mark, well,
we'll see you later, Mark.
and then like literally they announced like the next week, they're like,
Mark Grace will no longer be on the show.
He went to jail. He did 6 months at Tent City in Arizona.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, he got 3 D-dubs and he
shit.
had 6 months in jail, which is sad. Sorry for making this sad note in the podcast, but yeah, I was a big Gracie fan. The only reason was growing up in Houston, we only got WGN. We didn't get the Astros.
Right.
The Astros had zero funding. We were like the shittiest team in the 90s. So like I could only watch the Cubs and WGN. So I remember my 12th birthday. I told my mom, I was like, I want to go to Wrigley, and she bought me a plane ticket, and she flew me up there, and we went to Wrigley, and I like saw Mark Grace, and I watched Mark Grace, and so
religious experience, right? Wrigley for me was always like it was the smell. The crumbling, like you might get hit with a cinder block falling from the fucking upper deck.
The trough urinal.
They put nets up when I was going to the game like 10 years ago. There was nets to catch shit from falling. Just like
it's beautiful.
I've never been to Fenway though, and that's my one thing bucket list stadium. All the other new ones cool. Like I know they're all going to be amazing. Been to quite a few, but
Sox games, yeah.
But the Reds, Fenway and Wrigley are like. To me,
that's how baseball was supposed to be played. It was shocking too that like most of their games were day games. I'm shocked they made a profit. The Cubs back in the day, that people just skipping work all the time to just go to.
Yeah. Like I would skip school. I remember a couple of times with my buddies. I remember we went to a Montreal Expos game and we sat right in the right field bleachers and we were just heckling. We were like 12 years old, heckling Vladimir Guerrero. Just half empty stadium at like Tuesday at like 120. Bleacher tickets were like $6, $8.
Yeah.
Now bleacher tickets like 90.
Right.
That's awesome.
It's just like
the team sucks.
Yeah. What's the movie? The pitcher kid. It's kind of a good
Rookie of the Year.
It's kind of a good. That's kind of how it was. Just like
how it was.
Yeah.
I went to the World Series when they won. I went to the Game 6 in 2015, Wrigley Field. And we couldn't scalp tickets. We had like $500 cash on us, and we couldn't get in, whatever. And I remember paying somebody after they won that game because they were going to like Game 7. I paid someone $20 to use the restroom because you couldn't get in the bar. The bar was like $100 cover charge. I had to piss so bad.
2016, sorry.
2016, yeah. And there was like cops every corner. I had to piss so fucking bad. And I just knocked on this random door in Wrigleyville, and it's like an old lady opened up, and she was like, "Get out of here!" And I was like, "Man, I gotta use a restroom so bad. Like, please, I gotta use a restroom. I'll do whatever it takes. I don't want to piss outside. I don't get arrested." And she was just like, "Yeah."
You wouldn't have gotten arrested.
Like, I have $20 fucking dollars. I don't roll the dice. And he was like,
You would have got a $500 ticket, not arrested.
My friend shit and my friend shit
I'm a sex offender in Chicago, man. I want to come back.
At 4 p.m, sun out in July. My friend shit in the alley at the old Harry Carey's right there outside of the bleachers. Yeah. Just like shitting. He had like an emergency, and he couldn't get like similar. He couldn't get it anywhere. He just did it. People were walking by like, like, but
just another day in Wrigley.
Yeah, no. My sister lived in Wrigley. She's like, it's gonna be so after college. Oh, it's so cool. Like, we're gonna live. And I was like, how close are you? She's like 4 blocks away. I was like, oh, I'm like, you're gonna be walking out of your place to go to yoga, and there's gonna be a guy naked puking on your porch. And there was
because like, literally he slept like there all night.
You just get all these out of towners. Obviously, they got buses from Iowa just coming in, like
bringing these damn Iowans.
No, seriously, you got everybody from the Midwest comes to a Cubs game. Where else do they? There's no Nebraska. Like, where are you gonna go?
That's why Chicago's in New York City
of the Midwest. Yeah, but you're a big Astros guy, Wes. I don't know if you heard Wes just call them cheaters again.
Yeah, I mean apparently they're doing it again.
Today there was another story about whistling, but doesn't every team do that?
Every team does that. I was a pitcher in high school. I had a college. I was going to play college ball at McMurray State in Abilene, and I didn't go. I went to A&M, started playing music. Thank God, I'd probably be still in the minor leagues, probably with some like chubby wife, like 3 kids I hate or some shit. And it was a thing where they all do it. That's all we tried to do was pick off signs, man. The Astros just figured out a way. The Red Sox were cheating before that. New York Yankees were always cheating. But I get it. I mean, it's easy. They won the World Series and they got caught cheating. Of course, they're going to call them cheaters. Now I don't think they're cheating now, but whatever. I mean,
was like Patriots got it a lot, obviously, right? So it's like
gate and all that shit. Yeah.
There's like a gray area for sure. Like when is it like that you're more clever, smarter, more savvy, and when is it that you're like clearly doing some fucked up shit? Like. Yeah, if you have a fucking camera going into the opposing locker room, like obviously that's you
have a mole inside the team.
Yeah, but it's like I used to hear theories about Wrigley Field because it's the manual scoreboard that they would like change it based on when the home or the away team was batting, like how they would like move the numbers for the other games and stuff. Like there's like theories, but there's a guy in there and people don't know that, but like.
Yeah, there's a guy.
Yeah, like a guy actually in there, but I don't know. Like
they always.
I read a rumor that Correa like is one of the Cubs targets this offseason, so I got kind of excited about that.
I don't think Houston's gonna be able to afford because Tucker's coming up, and then there's just so many all-stars you can only afford to pay so much. I mean, if Correa goes to the Cubs, I would actually. That's one thing.
Prefer that, yeah. Versus somewhere else.
I'm still a Cubs
versus the Yankees.
I still love to go. Yeah, fuck that. I hate that. But also, like, they had a big thing in the 80s. Remember when the Expos were turning the AC on when the opposing team was at bat?
Oh,
yeah.
I remember reading about that.
Machines in the outfield, and they were blowing the fucking – and, like, outfielders were like, dude, when we're not at bat, this AC is, like, not blowing. When they're at bat, like, it's fucking blowing in. Like, they would have fly balls that would be knocked down.
Just, like, knocked down.
They're like – like I don't know.
But the Expos aren't one
weather.
Of those. Yeah, it was like weather.
Oh, that's great. So,
is baseball your biggest, or are you a big college football guy because of A&M or?
Yeah. I love college football. Yeah, just like throwing some bets down, and then I love NFL with fantasy and shit. But baseball is because I played it. It's cool. It was always something that I think baseball players and musicians are a lot alike, kind of quirky, like. Superstitious. It's
all different shapes.
160 days a year.
All different shapes and sizes too, which is cool. Yeah.
So it's the closest thing that I have to music, the sport that I identify with. So,
are you buddies with any guys that are in the major leagues? We have a bunch of guys that follow us on Instagram and Twitter, which is always cool for us to see, like all these like pitchers, and then like one of the Braves relievers follows it, and we're like, oh, cool. Like they're obviously country fans that follow us, but
Grandpa Ross, he does.
Oh yeah, and David Ross for the Cubs manager follows us. We drank some beers with him, and
we were playing in Denver at what's a venue? It's a brewery. Well, holds like 300 people, but I got a DM at like 7 p.m. from Cameron Rupp, and he's like, "Hey, we're playing the Rockies tonight." He was a catcher for the Cincinnati Reds. He's like, "I'm gonna bring a bunch of the guys out."
I think he follows us on Twitter.
And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Fuck yeah, I'll get you on the guest list." Dude, like 30 dudes showed up. It was like 10 guys from the Reds and then 10 guys from the Rockies. Like after, I think when the teams play each other, they all go out.
They just like hang out.
Yeah, I just looked it up. Cameron Rupp, you guys follow each other.
Yeah. So like, so those guys stayed on the bus till 4 a.m. and they had to be back at workouts at like noon. I was like, y'all hung over? What the fuck is this?
Let me place my bets.
Yeah, they're like, we played better.
Oh, that's a thing my buddy used to. I've told the story once before, but he used to go to these late night divey kind of bars in Chicago, not like the clubs. And one Cubs reliever would be there late night doing coke and fucking drinking till 5 a.m. The Cubs had the 120 games.
Yeah.
And he's like watching it, but he's like fucked up. But he was like a gambling degenerate. And he's like, oh shit, okay. He's like, so the next day he put money on the Phillies. And this guy comes in the 8th inning, gives up a grand slam to Bobby Abreu?
Yeah.
Yeah, the right fielder.
Yeah.
And like he's like, oh my god, it worked. Like the guy, I'm like, you imagine how hungover you are. You get 120. They call you up at 3 o'clock. You're like, get in there and get out this like fucking all-star. And he just puts it out. He puts it on Wavell, and you're like, like.
Well, there's also a thing I was telling my buddy this. You can bet on the national anthem. Do you know that? Like at Major League Baseball games. So I've done it.
Oh, how long it is, or what?
Under. So I've done it 7 times. I stopped doing it because I just started getting too many panic attacks, and my heart's just like going so fast.
You're just like,
I'm gonna fuck it up, and all I'm gonna do is be.
That's a degenerate bet, man. Holy shit! I gotta look.
This thing is, you could like, if I really wanted to, I could like email my brother and be like, "Hey, go put 30 grand on the over."
And I'm gonna hit this.
Like just string up like 5 fucking minutes.
Hey, let us know, man.
30 grand.
Let us know.
I'll tell my wife, I go empty the savings. Like,
and then
holy shit.
Then like the sound cuts.
This is probably not legal, obviously.
The sound cuts out, and it's like, oh, I guess Rich is holding the mic, and I'm like, no, I gotta murder Rich O'Toole because I just put 40 grand on the fucking national anthem at the Rangers game.
I have a panic attack, and I fucking drop, and like the over is under 2 minutes, and I'm like, what?
Do you remember Luke Bryan wrote
the bullshit?
Do you remember Luke Bryan got dragged? It was one of our first posts, like back in 2015, I think, but like. Did he do the Red Sox national anthem? First of all, or was it the Rangers? Luke Bryan did a national anthem somewhere. Yeah. That made no sense to me. I was like, him here?
Why'd they
like,
get him?
It was a Super Bowl. He did the Super Bowl.
Oh, was it the Super Bowl? But he had the lyrics on his palm, and he was just reading it like this, and everybody was like, what the fuck? Like, he was like, I was so nervous. I think he's just like, so nervous.
It's teleprompter, like.
I would be so I can't imagine the nerves there.
Didn't Eric Church, because he did at the Super Bowl last year, he was like, would never ever do it. And then they asked him, and he was like, okay.
But they had that really good.
They brought the
I forgot her name.
It's so much good.
She's not a country singer.
No,
I always did it with a buzz. I mean, obviously, because like my heart was just.
Well, I'd be just like half a bottle in. I'd just be like.
Yeah, at that point, I don't think you care. You're just like empty stadium, and you're just owning it, and you're just like, oh. Coe Wetzel did it at the Spurs game, and that was badass. Did you see his?
Oh no, I didn't see that. That might be a good post if we can find it.
You go to YouTube and look up Coe Wetzel national anthem Spurs game.
Absolutely. He doesn't get enough credit for being like a good singer. I feel
he does. Yeah, and that's why I was like, dude, this is amazing because most people don't have the balls to get up there and do it. But yeah, I mean, you can bet on it. So I don't know if I send you.
What do you use? DraftKings? Or you use some? What app do you use? DraftKings or is Barstool?
I go to the Barstool, but
Barstool.
I think I can't bet in Texas though, man. So you either like ping it or like go through a buddy or like send a buddy.
Oh, because the Wi-Fi thing, yeah.
Can you get like a VPN and then just?
I guess you could, like, yeah. We can't say that over this podcast because I'm getting.
I guarantee you, like 50% of people do that probably. I'm getting followed by the Barstool app because they're in Denver tonight for I think the game's in Cleveland, but they're in Denver for the Cleveland Browns. Yeah. And it's just like every time I open my Facebook, boom, first thing is the ad. We're now in Colorado. We're now in Colorado. But I use DraftKings because DraftKings has been here since I moved here.
Yeah.
I like DraftKings. I've had like 2 issues where I couldn't make a bet. And I was like, like having a panic attack. Like this is not normal. I'm like, relax. Like, and I go on Twitter and everybody's like, you motherfuckers. Like you actually saw like the degenerates that go to Twitter to talk shit to support. Like when
they're like, we're trying to figure it out.
You're like, yeah, it's like when Southwest cancels your flight, you're like, you pieces of shit. Like everybody's like, because you're trying to like, you just lost the game. You're trying to fucking get the next game that and it's starting at 3:15. You lose your fucking noon game. Oh my god!
I got my riddle on you, motherfucker. I got 3.
You're trying to hedge the day.
I like. Do they get like lawsuits for that? Like, I got to imagine some crazy people like file like lawsuits.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, stock lawsuits too. All those like people that invest like penny stocks and the company goes out of business, they like file, but you're never gonna win that.
Yeah, I got on the ground on bar stools because now I think if you live in Illinois, you have to go to a sports book and sign up there at a sports book and like legitimize it or something like that. But I got in right, like they had like a window in the beginning where anyone could sign up.
Oh, is that what you use, Wes?
No, I use DraftKings still, but I signed up. They had like a promo where if you signed up, you could kind of get like a few bucks, free and shit.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like this, guys. I lived in New York for a while. I was actually trying to buy a place up there.
I was gonna
ask you about that.
One of my notes was about your album New York, but then that you were, for a country guy from Texas,
seems like
did you get some hate for that?
Yeah, I did, of course. And there was one more thing. I was like, it was like a kind of come to Jesus for me. I was like, Rich, you got to really figure out like what you want, man. Because to me, it's like I've been living a really fun lifestyle. My 20s, I should have married this girl I was dating, and I was being selfish and put my career before it. In my I'm 38. I turned 35 at the beginning of the pandemic. I just turned 38. That's how long like we've been in the pandemic. It's like so ridiculous. And I had my house in Nashville, but like, man, I didn't want to live in Nashville. It was like sorority parties every single weekend. I was like about to blow my friggin' brains out. And there's problems with the house that I bought, so I had to sell it back to the owner. I was like, I don't know where to go. And New York to me is like an adult playground. They have like the best food, they have best everything. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'll just fly in for gigs. And then I realized doing the math, and I actually put an offer on the place there. And there's like co-op boards. You like buy within like buildings and shit.
Yeah.
And so the lady didn't file the permit right, and I had to wait 6 months. I had to rent an apartment for 6 months, then buy it. I said, fuck it. You know what? I need to take my career more seriously. I need to get back down to Texas and like buy a place there and tour, like, crush out 120 dates a year down there, because like we are somewhat of a household name down in Texas. We have a lot of songs on the radio. The pandemic's going to be over. I need to take it seriously. I got to get my ass back to Texas. So that was kind of why. And people were thrown for a loop on that, but I was like, guys, I'm a single dude. Like, I'm going to find a wife soon, probably, like I'm having a lot of fun, but I love New York. I want to live there. But then I realized I was like, I have so many friends there. I can just fly there anytime I want and, party for the weekend and fly back. So it didn't make much sense. My family's in Texas. My mom was like crying, like, why do you want to leave here? Why aren't your real family's here? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And I think I was just being really selfish. So, but I did. I wrote a whole record while I was there, that came out in 2020 called New York. And, I love it. I love the city. I really do, honestly.
What's your neighborhood? Like, where you like to hang?
I love the Lower East Side a lot. Meatpacking District's a lot of fun, man. There's downtown's a good time. The place I was in to buy was on 82nd and 3rd Avenue on Upper East Side. It's the best. Everything there is no bullshit. That's what I love about New York and Chicago, is it's so real that you can't afford to be fake there. And like living in Austin or living in fucking, what else? What are bullshit cities out there where you're like,
Nashville.
One can fake it. Like,
to us, Nashville and LA are like
Nashville, LA. Anyone, I can move there and say I'm something else, or say I'm some, and they'll believe it. And then some sorority girl will fall for it. And like, it's just, $4 all you can drink mimosas, bullshit. Work, it's like, dude, you better come with your strongest shit, just like Chicago, or someone's gonna sniff it out.
My oldest sister lived in New York City for quite a while. I would go visit her when I was in my 20s, and same. It's like one of my favorite cities. I'm a big food guy like yourself, and like cooking, and So it's just like never ending. It's so big. And I think Wes, I told you the same thing when you went. I'm like, you're gonna feel the energy. It doesn't stop. Like Chicago, it still stops at night. 2 a.m. it's over. Not New York. It just keeps going. Like it just, and then by the time the sun's coming up, the bakeries are opening. The little like, you know, like the street carts for breakfast. Shops, it's just like a really, really cool place. And but like it's dirty and the pricing is kind of out of control. And you're just like, maybe I'll get some land.
Especially now with COVID, it's like I'm always stuck there.
Right. Well,
I think being in Indiana is like,
I've always said it's like people are like, oh, the energy, and it's like, fuck off energy. And then you go there and you're like, oh, okay, I get what you're saying. New York's the only place I felt that. Chicago, I don't feel that. Like I've lived here 15 years almost. Like it's not the same. Like New York is fucking huge in a really cool way. I don't think I could ever live there.
You can go down any street in New York City that's like a residential street, and there's just going to be like a little like walk down underground little
dive bar,
like either a dive bar or like a Chinese noodle place or a little pizza spot. Like it's just everywhere. Like you never are not close to
it never stops. I mean, you're right. Like it never stops. You can really go forever. Like
you'll never like scratch the surface.
You never scratch the surface of that place. There's every single street has 5 bars, 5 Chinese noodle places, 1 fucking bakery, like 4 coffee shops on one street. And now there's 600 more streets of that. And you're like, okay, well, tomorrow I'll check out the next street. And tomorrow I'll check out the next street. It's like, holy shit, man. This is like Disneyland for like food alcoholics. Like it really is. So
awesome. I saw you on Twitter whipping up a nice pho. How's that looking?
Yeah, I smoked that pork butt last night for the Astros game. I'm planning on buying a ticket to go tomorrow, but I took the bones and made a pho soup. So yeah, it's good for the soul.
Yeah, it is. Making soup.
Yeah, get a rock.
You got to do it. Well,
Chili, if you're listening.
Well, we're gonna
beans and pho.
No beans and pho. That's fucked up.
Rich, this was a lot of fun. Hour and 15 minutes went by like crazy fast.
Oh, I thought it's been 25. Shit.
But
it's fun topics, man. And it's shit that things need to be talked about. So I appreciate you having me on.
No, we got to do it again. It's a lot of fun and touch on a lot of important subjects, like you said.
Yeah. Before we wrap up, like, what do you got going on? Where can people find you? We got any music coming out? What's going on?
Yeah. So we're dropping. I did a cover of Prince's "Nothing Compares to You."
Ooh, nice.
It's me and the guitar. We're gonna drop that. I'm trying to drop a song every single month. And then the month after that, 1st December, we have a song called Low Hanging Fruit. Kind of pokes fun at the Americana Nashville crowd. That's coming out in December. It's a big banger. It's got a big chorus. It's like I'll sing you some of it. It's like you come to town with a funny hat, like you're singing children's, but you're singing flat. And then the chorus is like Nashville really ain't in the South. In Texas, you shut your mouth. Americana is the truth, and you'll follow suit. Yeah, but it ain't you. You're just low hanging fruit, and like calls out dudes that it's like kind of be a wannabe in the scene. You know?
Just a man on an island.
I fucking love it.
So we're dropping that in December, and then we got a bunch of tour dates in January. I'm doing like 2 or 3 around the holidays, and then. I really want to, get back at it full time and just keep dropping music and playing shows,
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Right on.
Cheers, brother.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it.